Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to take you through the process of making a bustier blouse. So this video will be divided into two parts: drafting process and sewing process. So keep watching and enjoy the video.
So without wasting much time, let's dive into the tutorials. So I have some of the lines already drafted on my pattern paper. This is my shoulder line. This is the bust point line. So you should be able to measure from your shoulder to where your nipple is. That's your bust point line. Then you go ahead and still measure from your shoulder to the under bust, where the under wire of your back cup is. Then your waistline, the tiniest area in your tummy, okay. Then I have my hip line, okay. So I've gone ahead to mark that. So the next thing I'm going to impute is my shoulder measurement divided by 2. So I have gone ahead to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. Then the neck which we are using for this project is 3 inches for my clients, and the neck depth we are using is 3 inches, okay. So you go ahead and mark 3 by 3 inches depending on your client, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the line together. Then once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to come down here for my shoulder slope by 1.5 inches for the front. Then for the back, I'll be using just 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Then I'm going to connect it all the way to the neck width. Then once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to get half of my armhole measurements. Go ahead and measure round your armhole. When you get the measurements, you divide by 2, or simply divide your bust circumference by 6 and add 1.5 inches to it. So after that, mine is about 7.5 inches. Then I'm going to get the measurement of my shoulder and place it here. So this line is supposed to be here. Then the next thing I'm going to get is my bust circumference divided by 4. So we want to curve out our armhole. So I'm going to connect the lines together. Then after that, you get the midpoint of these two lines. And from the center, you come in here by 1 inch, or between half inch to 0.5 inches, or you can simply get your across chest measurement and take the measurement, or you can come up here by 3 inches depending on what you want. All these formulas work. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this point to this, and finally to this, in order to get my armhole curve. So the next thing I'm going to do is to get my dart measurement, and to do that I just have to get my nipple to nipple measurement and divide it by 2. And when I do mine, I should have about 4 inches, and I'm going to insert 4 inches over here. So I'm going to take it all the way down. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to impute my dart leg, and for this particular client I'm going to use 1 inch on the center front and 1.5 inches at the side front, making a total of 2.5 inches, okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is to extend it. So I'm going to mark the same thing here, 1.5 inches. Then I'll mark the same thing at the hem. So after marking it, I went ahead to roll a straight line to connect the lines. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take this over to this using a curve, and to do that you can come down by just half an inch. in order to make your curl to not to be too pointy. Then after that, I'm going to extend this straight line like ½ inch above this bust point line. Then once I'm done connecting it ½ inch above this line, I'm going to get the midpoint of this shoulder line, the center. So I've gotten the center. The next thing I'm going to do is to connect it to this point using a straight line. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is to impute my overbust dart, and to do that I'm going to just measure 2.5 inches from here and mark. So you can measure between 2.5 to 4 inches depending on how exposed you want the cleavage to be. So but 2.5 inches is ideal for this client. So I'm going to, for my overbust tightening, I'm going to take ½ inch from here and 0.75 inches from this other side. I don't want this upper side to be that tight or that firm, so I'm going to go ahead and connect to this ½ inch we came up earlier. Then you can go ahead and make a curve here just to blend it up. So once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to blend this part in order to join the yoke. So this is what we have for the other part. Then for this part, I'm going to come down here by 2 inches, or you can say 1.5 inches, so that it will be curvy enough. So I'm going to go ahead and make a curve over there. This is what we have. You can also blend up this side and make it not to look too sharp. So the next thing I'm going to do is to impute my side dart, and to get the side dart you just have to measure the difference between the front half length and the back half length. So what I want to explain is that the size of the bust depends on the difference. If you have a larger bust, then the difference will be like 2 inches or thereabout. It depends on the size of the bust. The smaller the bust, the lesser the difference, if that makes sense. So I'm going to take my bust circumference, that's about 10 inches on this spot. Then I'm going to come down here by 1 inch. Then on this my bust point area, I'm coming in here by just 1 inch. Then I'll connect straight up to this part. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is to impute my measurement. So now the waist measurement we are working with is waist measurement of 30 inches, and 30 inches divided by 4, we should be having about 7.5 inches. So I'm going to mark 7.5 inches here. Then I'm going to replace this dart we have here. This is about 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to replace it here. Then if you want to have a snatched waistline, like you wanted to have that curvy effect by the waist side, you can deduct 1 inch from here, or ½ inch. Mind you, if you deduct 1 inch from here and deduct 1 inch from the back, you'll be deducting total of 4 inches from your blouse. If you deduct ½ inch from the front part, deduct ½ inch from the back part of your pattern, you'll be deducting total of 2 inches. Okay, so we are deducting total of 1 inch to this from this, and at the end of the day we'll be snatching by just 4 inches. Okay, so this is optional. Okay, it's optional. Then for the waist measurement we are working on, her waist circumference when divided by 4 is about 10 inches. Okay, so her waist measurement is 40, and when divided by 4 you should have about 10. So you go ahead and mark your 10 inches. Then I'm going to replace what I have here, that's 2.5 inches. I'm going to replace that 2.5 inches here. Then instead of replacing 2.5, I'll end up replacing 2 inches, just 2 inches, because I don't want that part to be that loose. So I'm going to extend this line. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to fold up, is to connect the lines. Okay, so to connect the lines I need to at least fold in this part. So to close up this part, you need to split open this part. So I'm going to fold in this part, then I'll use my tape to hold it down. So next is to go ahead and connect. Next thing I'm going to do is to fold this part in, and make a nice curve. And to do that thing, to make the curve, you need to come up here by 2.5 inches. Okay, this is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to connect all the way. Then on this hemline, I'm coming up here by just 1 inch. Then after cutting it out, this is what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and blend up this part. So just blend up this part and cut out what you have there. Then I'm going to glue this two pieces together to form the yoke. Right, so this is for the back pattern. I've already inserted some of the measurements, and for the neck depth I used 1.5 inches. The neck width is the same with that of the front, 3 inches. Then for my shoulder slope I came down by 1 inch, and this is half of my armhole measurement. Then my chest measurement divided by 4, my bust circumference divided by 4. I have the line here, so I'm going to just make a curve to join this line. So this is from our armhole curve. Then once we're done with that, the next thing I'm going to do, just extend this chest line. And you know, we talked about the waistline of the front being longer than that of the back, so I made sure I imputed that here, and it affected the length of our blouse. So instead of having 25 inches, we ended up with 24 inches over here. Okay,
All right, so the next thing we need to do is to impute our that measurement, which is about 4 inches, and I'm going to mark it there, and also mark on the chest line and at the hem line, and I'm going to square a line to connect the dots together.
so for my dart intake for the back, I'm taking ½ inch on this side and 1 inch on this side. Or you can also decide to take just ½ inch here and ½ inch here. It all depends on you. Then on this hemline, I'm going to take ½ inch on this side and ½ inch on this side. Then I'm going to connect it straight. Then because I don't want this place to be too sharp, I'm going to extend this. Okay, it's assume I came in here by 0.25 inches, so I'm going to blend the line. So as soon as that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is to take my measurement. So my waist measurement when divided by 4 is about 7.5, and what we have here is 1.5 inches. And you can remember that for the back, for the front part, we took out 1 inch for waist cinching. So on this part, we're going to, instead of replacing 1.5 inches, I'm going to just take half inch. Then for my hip measurement, when divided by 4, I have about 10 inches. Then what we have here is about 1.25 inches. So I'm just going to put back half inch rather. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect it. Then after that, I'm going to go ahead and connect all the way to the waistline. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to determine how open I want the back, for the back opening. So I'm using total of 2 inches over here and 1 inch here for the back opening. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it with a ruler. I'm going to connect it. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to make a curve to the back. And to do that, you just have to determine how open you want the back part to be and make a curve. So once you're done with that, I'm going to get this my back pattern and retrace this so that it will be easier for us. Okay, right, so there's one thing we considered. We came up here by 1 inch, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to come up here by 1 inch and here by 1 inch. Then I'm going to reconnect it instead of using this particular one. So I'm going to reconnect it. So to reconnect it, I'm going to fold this part of the back. Then I'm going to go in 2 inches from here, just like we did to the front part. Right, so after connecting it, this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and cut out the pattern so you can see what we have. Alright, so after cutting it out, this is what we have. Just do well to label the upper side, the dart area, and the downside. So if you find these tutorials helpful, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.
Then I'll be posting the next video, which is the sewing process of this video. So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe.